Welcome to the fish tank.
Hey everybody, Fishman here, and welcome to another video. This video was supposed to be an extension of the Archimedes screw build. I was going to modify the top of it so that it would have a single output, and I was going to measure the flow and see if I can make it a usable flow for future builds. But at the same time, what I was doing is I was setting up these tanks. These are the second row in the recycled rack, and I wanted to get them running because the other thing I want to do is the old rack, the one that was pretty much in almost all the original videos I did. It needs to be modified. It needs to be cleaned out. It needs to be, actually I want to move it as well, but before I can take all those fish out and plants and everything else, I need those 4 tanks running, and just the things that need to happen before I can actually get to that. So I set up 4 of these box filters. I think I put them in a video recently. And it was during this that I noticed a few things. First off, when all this these issues with viruses and shutdowns and everything else occurred, I had a little bit of foresight and picked up 2 full sheets of acrylic, 1/4 and 1/8. But I didn't have the foresight, unfortunately, to pick up the round tubes. So this build, these 4 box filters have used up about 1/3 of my remaining stock of round tubes in these 2 sizes, which is 1/4 inch and then 1 1/4. So that got me thinking, what am I going to do if this situation continues on long enough that I actually end up running out of these sorts of materials? I mean, I do want to continue doing videos, and I need some way of delivering water to a filtration system, some form of tube. And that actually ended up stirring up a memory from quite some time ago now. I don't even remember when. Someone left a comment saying that where they live, don't even have access to round tube at all, even under normal circumstances. And is there a way of doing it with flat sheets, which they actually did have access to? So that leads to today's video. And as you can see on the pad there, I always like to sketch out when I'm doing prototyping. It kind of firms up in my mind what I want to do. Even though as I go along through the build, as you'll see here, those ideas will change, but at least it gives me a picture in my brain before I do any cutting. And also I do write down the sizes and whatnot, so I make sure I don't cut too much of anything. So I'm going to show you this quick clip here. This is the saw sled. I actually have the gimbal above that you can see here, and it does allow me to show you some of the cutting I'm going to do. I'm not going to show you too much of it today. It's just a couple of quick strips here. But I just wanted to show you that my lethargy or lack of ability to adjust to this new situation seems to be ebbing. I am getting to the point now where I am getting a lot more work done, which is great. And I just, like I said, I just had that done, so I thought I'd show that to you. Once the strips are cut, it's just a simple matter of drilling some holes. I decided, if you remember from the original drawing, not to go with gaps, but to actually drill a quick grid pattern in this, just because I want the air to be slightly above where the water comes in, and also because these holes are more uniform and smaller, it will break up the bubbles a bit more and hopefully get more lift out of it. And that's another thing, like you see the pad there. I mean, I do keep that in mind as I build things, but in the end, this is actually not going to look an awful lot like that at all. So the one on my right hand is going to be the center strip, and those fine holes are where the air is going to come out, and of course the other 2 holes is where the water is going to come in. Now, I'm going to do a quick glue up here, and the only thing that's important about this is this piece here and then the center piece. I have to make sure that they are actually airtight, because the air has to go down, and that's going to create a bit of pressure, and if there's a leak anywhere there, it's just going to go that way instead of going all the way to the bottom. But as I do this, I actually have a question for you guys. This prototype here, this build, is just going to be that. I'm just going to put it together, stick it in a tank, and see if it does hopefully what I want it to do, which is cause water to come from one place and go to another and have a reliable amount of it so I can use it in some kind of filter. And that's where you guys come in. once this is done and tested and actually works, I would like you guys to leave in the comments below your ideas for what I can do with this. It has to obviously be internal, at least as far as this goes. I want to build a filter system and test this out long term, and you guys are going to choose what that is. Either box filter like the ones up in front there, under gravel filter, whatever. You guys let me know, and as always I will go with whatever the majority chooses, and I will build that and set it up and get it running, and of course that'll be in a future video. So this is not actually very difficult to do. The only thing to keep in mind, of course, because 1/8 is very flexible, you just have to keep things as straight as possible. And this is actually another point where I made a little change, even though I had already cut this strip. To make sure I get a firm and even flow and a good weld, I needed to cut a larger width of this. Fortunately, I'll be able to use that little piece. But all I did is I made this about 1/8 of an inch oversized, so I can actually weld it from the outside of the tube. It's it just ensures that I get a good glue up, and that's very important in this. And after it's done, what I'll do is I'll just stick it on the saw sled and I'll just trim off the excess. A lot of people I know who do this acrylic for professionally have a special router for that, but I don't have one for that. I may eventually hook one up, but for the moment the saw sled works perfectly fine. So there you go. Those are all the external ones, and now all that's left is gluing up the last seam on the inside, and this is kind of cool. Just watch the one by my ring finger there. There you go. That is the methylene chloride. It wicks through so beautifully like that. As long as your cuts are straight and smooth, it'll just flow right down and it seals the whole thing up perfectly. So all that's left on this now is that's actually the offcut I'm making there, and that is actually the only piece of round tube I need for this. So that's going to give me obviously more than enough material for a long period of time. That short little piece there is enough to make I don't know, 6 or 7 filters out of, and I have probably about 8 feet of this stuff at the moment. So all I'm going to do now is just glue the top on. And for those of you who noticed that there's no way the water can get out yet, just be patient, that part's coming up. I just wanted to do this glue first because it will reinforce the ends so that when I do the drill for the hole, which is another change from the original drawing, it'll be reinforced strong enough that I don't have to worry about this cracking or forming any kind of leak anywhere. So I'm just going to glue the top on. And again, the main piece, the internal piece there, the slide, the divider that goes down the middle, at the top where this joins to the top is not glued yet. So once the hole's drilled, I drilled a nice, I think it was almost a 7/8 hole. And then it's done, and then just put a little quick dab of acrylic glue on this, and it's all set to test out. There you go. A square tube to deliver water. That's actually the other thing I was thinking about while I was doing this. I had originally had this bottle completely filled with methylene chloride, and as you can see, it's already going down low, so I can't buy more of that at the moment. And that, whenever I'm actually doing this sort of thing with that bottle, I'm very careful, making sure I don't spill a drop. So here we go. We're going to stick this in here. This is just the tank I have, the high humidity, the new build for that. And it has some lovely fish in it. But it's a nice clean tank, and it's just useful for filming this. So here we go. We're going to stick it in the water, and let's see what it does. There you go. It works. It's actually, even though the bubbles are quite large, it's actually quite quiet. Well, relatively speaking, considering my fish room is actually not the quietest in the world. It does bubble quite well. You can see the one spot there where I missed up on the glue up a little bit, and it's getting some extra bubbles coming out. That's an easy fix, but For now, it doesn't really matter. I'll do that later. And I just wanted to show you the flow rate here. Just watch the yeah, the snail poop. And one more thing, like the snail itself there just gets sucked into, I mean, it's got some really good flow. So I think this is actually going to be quite useful. So definitely leave comments below as first off as to what you think of it. And then what you want me to build. What do you want me to use this for? I mean, it pumps a lot of water. It's actually... I don't think it pumps more than a round tube, but it's actually doing really quite well. So definitely let me know in the comments below what you want me to do with this, and I will get to that build, and hopefully soon we'll have something that I can show you this actually functioning on. So if you like this style of video, please like and or subscribe, and as always, leave comments, lots of comments, and I will see you in the next video, and bye for now.